He covered a lot of ground, including the economy, drug prices and infrastructure. And now, joining us on Varney & Company, the Treasury Secretary, Steven Mnuchin. Mr. Secretary, welcome to the program. Great to see you, sir.
Good morning. It's great to be here with you.
Did the president's words calm the markets after 2 days of losses?
I think so. I mean, it was a great speech. It was very inspirational. The president highlighted the economic success of his programs over the last year and put together a terrific agenda to focus on for this year.
Do you still expect 4% growth this calendar year? And if we get even close to it, are you concerned about rising interest rates?
I think our real focus is on 3% or higher sustained GDP, and we're very confident that we'll get that. I think we could definitely have a quarter where we get to 4%. But what we're really focused on is long-term growth. And I'm not concerned about inflation. Matter of fact, in the short term, we'd like to see some wage inflation, and we expect to see some there. But I think as you look at overall inflation, whether it's the recent deal you see in healthcare or other things, there's a lot of things that are driving down costs longer term.
Sir, can I interpret that as, yes, interest rates in the short term will go up some more?
I'm not going to comment on interest rates in the short term because I respect the Fed's independence. But, I would say if you look at the forward curve, obviously there's some expectations built into the market.
Mr. Secretary, would you please listen along with our audience to what Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said about the economy? Roll that tape, please. We're trying there. By the way, I'll fill in the blank, if I may, Mr. President. Roll that tape now.
I think I know what he said.
Yeah,
the president thinks our economic recovery is all thanks to him, when reality is that he owes a lot of it to Barack Obama. 2 words I don't think we'll hear tonight on the economy. Thanks, Obama.
Okay, the audience did finally hear it. You know what he said. Your response, please.
Look, I think it's unfortunate that Democrats can't acknowledge the reality that the Trump economic agenda has been great for the economy, has been great for the market. If you look at what we did in the tax bill and you look at whether it's Apple or AT&T or Boeing or all these other companies that are investing in the U.S., that wouldn't have occurred had we not changed the tax system. You would have had trillions of dollars that would stay offshore. And the President Trump economic agenda is what's going to create growth. That's the difference between 2% and 3% GDP.
Looking forward to infrastructure, taxpayers, as I understand it, and the President kind of outlined it last night, taxpayers contribute $200 billion. And last night the President talked about that being leveraged up to $1.5 trillion. Could you explain that leveraging? How does it work?
Sure. Well, I think, infrastructure has been one of the president's biggest agenda items. Being a builder, he knows that we need to rebuild America. And he wants to do that with a combination of federal money, a combination of leveraging state money, and a combination of leveraging private money. And part of it is going to be money. Part of it is going to change the regulatory environment. So we could move things that took 10 years to permit down to a year or 2.
Can you get 60 votes in the Senate for that?
Well, we need to get 60 votes, and I expect there will be bipartisan support for this. I think everybody understands there is a need to invest in America infrastructure.
Have you written off the hard right and the hard left, and you're trying to bring the moderates of both parties together? Is that the strategy?
No, I think the president would never write off anybody. So, obviously we need bipartisan support here, but we'll be working with Congress.
The tech companies, they're all reporting this week, tonight and tomorrow night. What are they going to do with all the cash that they're going to bring back to America? If they pass it along, or a lot of it, to shareholders, the left is going to object forcefully. What do you say?
Well, what I'd say, I had the opportunity to meet with Tim Cook last week. Obviously, they're making a major investment back into the U.S., bringing this money back, creating 20,000 new jobs here. We couldn't be more excited about that. I'm sure there will be some companies that do share buybacks, but I would just say there's nothing wrong with that. You need to understand that when that capital is returned to investors, that's capital that can be invested in other things. So while our number one objective is that people invest in infrastructure and capital and new jobs, recycling capital through the economy is a good thing and not a bad thing to efficient purposes.
What keeps you up at night, worrying about the economy? What dark cloud do you see?
Well, I think the thing about the economy is we're never good at seeing the next dark cloud. I mean, one of my major focuses is cyber. It's an area where I want to make sure the financial system is protected. I spend a lot of time on that. We've talked about cryptocurrencies and other things, terrorist financing and cutting off money to bad people.
Okay. Amazon, Berkshire Hathaway, JP Morgan, as you know, sir, they're teaming up on healthcare. Is this private enterprise to the rescue of the healthcare mess?
Well, I've only seen some of the headlines on this, but I'd say, anything is a good thing where there are private market solutions to create more competition. So if these companies can get together and have better buying power and can cut costs together, I think that's a welcome solution to just government regulation.
Despite the strong performance of the economy, many Americans side with the Democrats, and they think that large corporations and wealthy individuals, they're the ones who get most of the benefits of the tax cuts. To change that perception, you maybe have to sell this thing more aggressively.
Well, the president will continue to be on the road. I will be on the road. The reality of it is we're up to 3 million people that have received special bonuses. We have companies that invest a lot. This month, the IRS updated the tax tables so people will see more money in their pockets. And I think as people see the investment and people see what it does to them, I think we're going to see the polling numbers skyrocket on taxes.
Over in Davos, you made a comment about the dollar and kind of went all over the place with that. And you weren't very happy with what you'd said and how it was interpreted. You seem somewhat ill at ease this morning, Mr. Secretary, worried that you might say something out of place. Am I right?
Not at all. I wasn't ill at ease at what I said at all. What I was upset about was the press took one of 3 things that I said and highlighted it. I made a very balanced statement. What I said was really a matter of fact. And in my original comment, I was very specific in that, it's a liquid market. We don't care where it is in the short term. The market determines that. And in the long term, we believe in the strong dollar. So I think this was misreported and misinterpreted, and I corrected it and made clear the next day. It wasn't what I said. It was how it was reported.
Mr. Secretary, thank you very much for appearing on our program this morning. It's a great pleasure. Thank you.
Great to be here. Thank you very much.